Hello, you're welcome to our lecture. Today's lecture will be on the prospects of students of biology. What are the prospects of biology students? Some students used to wonder, this biology that I'm studying, what will I even do with it? Where can I work with the BSc in biology? What job can I have? And what is actually this BSc biology even? Most students do not really understand the course they are studying. Now, what is BSc biology? The Bachelor of Science, that's BSc in biology, is an undergraduate degree that imparts a foundation of information about botany, zoology, ecology, as well as molecular and cell biology and microbiology. So it serves as the foundation. It gives you fundamental knowledge of botany, zoology, ecology, as well as molecular biology and cell biology, as well as microbiology. A BSc in biology can serve as a terminal degree to enter research and laboratory careers or be used as a preparation for graduate work in biological sciences. Some may decide to study BSc biology and end there. They may just use it as a terminal degree, then look for job with it. But for others, it is a preparation for graduate work to proceed to master's and PhD. Now, what are the prospects with BSc, with a degree, BSc in biology? What prospects can one have? With a BSc in biology, you have the following prospects. There are a lot of prospects. Most of us do not know these prospects. That's why it's even difficult for us to study enthusiastically, and it also affects our academic career. Now, with a BSc biology, you are fully eligible to work in the Ministry of Environment of any state or at the federal level. You are eligible to work in the Ministry of Environment. For instance, the Bayelsa State Ministry of Environment. These pictures here are showing pictures of some students that graduated from biological sciences, and they are happily employed in the Ministry of Environment. So you can work in the Ministry of Environment with a BSc degree in biology. You can be employed as a laboratory technician. With a BSc in biology, you can be employed as a laboratory technician. Recently, some students that I taught in Niger Delta University, Nigeria, have also been re-employed. They have been employed to work in the lab. So it is very important that we look at these opportunities too, to be employed to work in the laboratory as a technician. You will also be employable to work as a teaching laboratory technician and be employed to work in that aspect too. One other area you can work with your BSc in biology is to work as a field scientist, in the field, okay? And you'll be a field assistant to the real consultants. I have done that severally, and now I am a consultant because I have a PhD. So you can work as a field assistant to the main consultants in the field, and that can earn you some money. One other prospect of BSc biology is that you can become a lecturer. Though with a BSc biology, you're only eligible to work as a graduate assistant, which is a trainee position. You can also work as a secondary school teacher. You can teach in the secondary school, which is also good for some. So you can have a teaching career with a BSc in biology. You can also work in research organizations, and the research organizations are very readily available in every country, even in Nigeria, particularly in Bayelsa State here. You have the Niger Delta Wetland Center in Ekeki and Yenegua, and you also have Delta Systematics in Port Harcourt, then Institute of Petroleum Studies in River State University of Science and Technology, and many others. So you can work in such laboratories, such research organizations. You can work in oil companies with your BSc in biology too, which many would want to have. You are relevant to the Health, Safety and Environment Department. You can work in the Health, Safety and Environment Department in oil companies. One other prospect you have as a holder of BSc in biology is that you also have the prospect to work in bioresources development centers. In Nigeria, we have a lot of them. A typical example is the Bioresources Development Center in OD, Biodec. Okay, you can work in the Bioresources Development Centers with your BSc in biology, which is also a very good job you can have. We have them in other parts of the country. We have Bioresources Development Center, Abuja. We have Bioresources Center at Diabo. Then we have Bioresources Center in Kano and many others. So it is very important that we make use of these opportunities. With a BSc in biology, you can work as a nature conservation officer. You can work as a nature conservation officer to conserve endangered species, to conserve animals or plants. You can work with establishments like the Nigerian Conservation Foundation or any other conservation group. You can even work in national parks to conserve the organisms. So that's also one other prospect of BSc biology. You can become a soil scientist. I have worked on soils severally in my researches, particularly in my master's and PhD. With that experience, you can successfully be employed in such companies, research organizations that are doing analysis on soil samples. You can also be employed to work as a biotechnologist. You can also be employed to work as a biotechnologist with requisite training. You can be trained to work in such a place after being trained with your BSc in biology. Then there are other opportunities you have as a biologist, and those opportunities are one, you can become a microbiologist. Okay, you have some knowledge of microbiology. You can be relevant in some areas where microbiologists work, particularly in Nigeria, where jobs are scarce and opportunities are given to some persons that are not actually qualified to be there. You can also work in the bank. I've seen some of my students that have worked in the banks that are still working in the banks. I've met them in the banks. So you can be relevant in such areas. You can also work in the brewery industries, like the brewery industry in Port Harcourt. Now, how do you get the work experience? Because for you to be employable, you must also have work experience. Now, getting work experience in the area of biology is very important. It is very important, very crucial. In a competitive job market, relevant experience shows your your commitment to the career and develops your practical skills, as well as giving you the opportunity to make professional contacts. If you're unsure which area of biology you want to move into, work experience can provide you with a useful insight into what the work is like. Now, how do you acquire this work experience for it to be employable? Biology degree courses incorporate a 6-month industrial training, particularly in the second semester of year 3. Biology students, especially in Niger Delta University, Wilberforce Island, Bayelsa State, Nigeria, there's usually a 6-month training period where the entire second semester and the holiday is the vacation is used for industrial training. Students can utilize this opportunity effectively to gain the requisite skills, the training, the experience, the work experience that's required. If possible, request for a certificate from the firm that you are doing your industrial attachment so that you can use it as work experience. Now, in addition to internships and work placement, relevant voluntary or part-time work is also useful in getting work experience. Look for opportunities with organizations such as conservation facilities, natural history or science museums, pharmaceutical companies, research and clinical laboratories, schools, zoos, or veterinary practices. Now, these are areas you can volunteer to work. I had personally volunteered to teach in a secondary school, the secondary school I graduated from. You can teach in such facilities, volunteer to teach. If you want to become a lecturer or a teacher, you volunteer in that field. Even if you're not, you don't want to be a lecturer, look for such places you can volunteer to gain the requisite experience. It can be in a laboratory, research and clinical laboratories. Go there, volunteer to work with them, and also gather such experience. And it's very important for your development. Now, you also need skills for your CV. Though your work experience is very important, but you also need other skills that you need to include in your CV. That's curriculum vitae, a document that describes you and your competencies or your achievements. In addition to subject-specific knowledge of biological systems and concepts, you develop a range of practical and technical skills and learn how to use specialist techniques and technical equipment. Now, what are you supposed to do in this regard? You also need to develop more general skills which are attractive to employers in all sectors. And these skills include 1, communication through report writing and presentations. So you need to improve your communication skills, your writing skills, okay? So your report writing should be improved greatly because in most organizations, you need such skills to succeed. Then you also need teamwork and collaboration. And this can be done through group work, group projects, and seminars. Then ability to work independently. This is also another skill you have to acquire. Then you also need to learn organization and time management. And how can you achieve that? Through meeting coursework deadlines. When you're given an assignment or a coursework, even as an undergraduate, learn to meet the deadlines. And that would be a very important skill when you're eventually employed into any organization. And you also need to improve your numeracy and mathematics. Learn to improve on your calculations, how you're able to calculate and make meaningful, come out with meaningful answers or results. You also need IT and computer literacy and research and data analysis. Problem solving and creative thinking is also very important if you want to be employable. Then project management. Then self-reliance and initiative and business awareness. is also part of the other skills you need to acquire. Now, after having your BSc degree, you may want to further your studies. Postgraduate study is a popular choice for biology graduates. Most biology graduates would want to further their studies. So what are you expected to do? You may want to increase your expertise in a particular area of biology or relevant subject, or to move into another career such as teaching, medicine, or law. There's provision for that, apart from improving your expertise in a particular area in biology. You can take up a diploma uh, uh, certificate, postgraduate diploma, that will enable you to switch to other fields. So with the BSc in biology, you also have the opportunity to make a switch to other specialties. Having a higher qualification, such as MSc and PhD, puts you at an advantage in a competitive job market. And as it will enhance your research skills, specialist knowledge, and communication skills. So it is very advisable that after your BSc degree, you further your studies, do masters or PhD. Just do it. After all, those that study law spend 6 years, and you're spending just 4 years in BSc biology. You can use those 2 years to go for masters. It gives you an advantage in a competitive job market, and that will give you an opportunity to work, to be employed faster or earlier than others that do not have a master's or PhD degree. However, it is important you research courses carefully to make sure the course you choose matches your career aims. So when you want to proceed for master's and PhD, make sure you research properly. Don't just jump into or rush into a particular program because you want to do masters. Make sure you also study courses that are relevant, courses that would give you an edge. For instance, if you want to lecture in NDU, for instance, which area in NDU, Niger Delta University, do we lack lecturers? Where do we need more expertise? Which area in among the lecturers do we need more lecturers? Those are the things you should think of, for instance. Or maybe in the whole of Bayelsa State or Nigeria, which area do the government need more staff? That's what will direct you to decide which course to study in your postgraduate level. Further study can also help with career progression and is essential for some jobs in biology. If you want a career as a research scientist or a university lecturer, you need to do a PhD in a relevant area of biology. Yes, PhD is very important for those that would want to become lecturers. Though there are some that are fortunate to start as graduate assistants and proceed for their master's and PhD. But in most cases, lecturers in the university will be required to present a PhD certificate. So it's very important we decide to make progress to that extent so that we can be employable, so that you can be employable. Now, we have looked at the prospects of BSc biology, and we have also looked at other opportunities to explore that you can also make progress to postgraduate studies. Now, in the time being, how do you study and excel as an undergraduate? It is very important. One of the very important means for you to learn to excel in your chosen field of study is to ensure that you attend all lectures, if possible. Attend all lectures. And that gives you an opportunity to hear from your lecturers and to understand the subject that's being discussed. As you listen and take notes, it helps. And then while in class, ask questions if you don't understand what the lecturer has explained. It is your right to know what's being taught. So whenever you're finding it challenging to understand what's being discussed by your lecturer, make sure you don't hesitate to ask questions. Don't be shy to ask questions. You are in school to learn, so ensure that you utilize that opportunity in class. Do not shy away like others. Ask questions. Don't join the crowd to say yes, sir. When your lecturer asks you, do you understand? Don't just answer yes, sir. If you don't understand, be free to say no, sir, and ask questions. Then try to answer questions when they are being asked in class. That's one other way you can excel. When you brainstorm as a lecturer asks questions in class, it helps you to think. As you think, and whenever the answer is being provided, or if you are given the opportunity to answer the question, once you answer such a question, it sticks to your memory. Okay, so it's good for you to answer questions. Or even if you're not called upon, don't feel that this question is not meant for me. I don't want to even bother my head. Think about it. And once the answer has been provided, you would remember that answer. Unlike when you're carefree, when you're not concerned about the answer. Then try to answer questions when they are being asked. Try to answer questions. Make sure you try to answer the questions. Then learn from your course mates. If any subject is being taught, any topic is being discussed, and even after your efforts in class to understand, you can't understand, be humble. Approach your classmates. Ask them questions. And when they explain and you don't understand, still ask questions. You may even choose one or two or even three persons to learn from. Brilliant students. Do that and you also be like them. I have had such experience before. Then one other thing you need to do is to study at home. And for you to study effectively, you need to have a study timetable. Make a study timetable. And it's usually very important. You study when you have rested after a while. Me, I find it easier to study and understand when I had slept in the night and I wake up very early in the morning, around 1, 2, 3, 4 a.m. to study. At that time, your brain is relaxed. You had you had slept, and all the problems of the previous day had gone. You are now with a fresh brain, ready to assimilate, and the environment is usually very quiet, free from distraction. That's the time you can study to understand. And while you're studying, make sure you take notes. Make sure as you're reading, take note of the important points in the material you're reading. Even if it's a note, a handout, or a textbook, make sure you write out or you underline very important points, key points in each paragraph. And then after reading, after taking those key points, it is also very important that after studying, you ask yourself review questions. Or if there are review questions in the textbook or the material you're studying, also ensure that you answer them. As you try to answer them, you help to retain such knowledge in your brain. And sometimes you answer and you make mistakes. Make sure you go back and check for the right answer. As you do that, you will actually not really forget what you have studied. So to study, make sure you make a timetable, study at the appropriate time when it's most convenient, especially when you feel relaxed. Usually studies have found that have shown that studying very early in the morning when you have already rested, it's the best time to study. It gives you an opportunity to understand better and take notes when you're studying. And what if you study a material and you are not really comprehending? Apart from learning from your classmates, try and concentrate on the aspect you are able to know very well and know it very well. Because in an exam, you may not be expected to write every question. You may be given 4 questions to answer, 6 questions to answer 4. So if you're able to study in 6 subjects, you're able to 6 topics, you're able to understand 4 topics very well, and you answer them, you are fortunate to have them in the exam, you still have A. So your target in every course should be A. Your target in every course should be A, not B or C. If you're not able to have an A, you can have B or C, but D is no option. So that should be your top target. And you should be confident that no matter how difficult that course is, you will be able to understand it. Don't have that fear. So thank you very much for listening. And I believe this lecture has given you a better understanding of the prospects of BSc Biology, and it has also given you a broader thinking faculty to know that your career doesn't end with just BSc Biology. You can make further efforts to improve on your person, to be employable. So apart from that, you have also learned that you can study and pass every course with very good grade. So keep up the good work, study hard, attend all lectures, and make yourself more productive. Thank you.